A question that's been given to me is about the pre-joining fitness test for the PRMC and how to train for the 1.5 miles in 10 minutes on a treadmill. And for those of you who aren't aware, the pre-joining fitness test didn't used to be something people had to do. It was a case of you just went down for your PRMC after going to your AFCO, your Armed Forces Careers Office, somebody basically looking you up and down, asking if you're fit and you can do a few press-ups and can you run, and then they'll put you on a course. The problem is there was a high percentage of people going down on the MOD's budget on trains from all around the country and failing a PRMC or POC in the initial fitness test in the gym, wasting their time and of course the training teams, and a spot for somebody who may well have passed who could have been put into training. So these days you need to do this pre-joining fitness test. And for some people, running a mile and a half in 10 minutes on a treadmill, if you've done athletics, if you've done cross country, if you've done a lot of rugby and football, it's actually not a hard test. For those of you that aren't runners, you are going to have to train for this. And the question that's been posed to me is, I can't do it. I can do 9 minutes 50 outside on tarmac and on the roads. I just can't do it on a treadmill. And this comes back to something that I speak about a lot, which is specificity. If you want to be good at press-ups, don't train bench press, train press-ups. If you want to be good at swimming, you need to get in the pool, you need to swim. There's no point doing cycling. If you want to be good at running on a treadmill, you need to run on a treadmill. So you're going to have to join a gym or find somewhere that you can use a treadmill. And it's a case of just doing it. Now, although Specificity says you should be running a mile and a half on a treadmill if you want to be good at running a mile and a half on a treadmill, there's another side to this that sometimes you need to break it down. Like we do with gainers, you're not just going to try and do 60 press-ups all the time. You're going to do less press-ups to build up to being able to do 60. It's a similar thing with running on a treadmill. So one of the things I say to do is intervals. So take the speed that you want to be able to run a mile and a half at on the treadmill, add 1.0 kilometers an hour to that speed, run at it for a minute, and then stand at the sides on the treadmill for 30 seconds. Run on it for a minute, stand on the side for 30 seconds. It may be 2 minutes, you may be able to do it for longer. And you're going to do that for 8 reps, 10 reps, 12 reps. And then the next time you come into the gym a few times later, you're going to repeat it. And the next time you might do it a bit quicker. You might add another 0.5 kilometers an hour, or you might do less rest, so only rest for 20 seconds. Or like I said, instead of running for a minute, you might run for a minute and a half or 2 minutes. You're just trying to progress it. Doing 10 reps, doing 12 reps, doing 14 reps. Then, after a month of doing that, you're then going to try to run your mile and a half on the treadmill in under 10 minutes. And funny old thing, you're better and more used to running on a treadmill, so you can do your 10-minute mile and a half. If you're still struggling, it may be that you need to correct your cadence. Now, this is a little bit more specific with running and a little bit more in depth. If you're really interested in this, you can get hold of my Haynes Guide to Running, which has got a whole chapter, a whole piece in there about that. But basically, your cadence is how many steps you take in a minute. And you can test this on a treadmill by putting it at a speed you're comfortable at running at and then counting how many of one foot you hit in a minute. So take your right foot and how many steps you hit in a minute. If it's under 80, you've got quite a long stride. So your cadence isn't quick, it's quite slow and plodding. You may need to speed this up. Most professional runners have a cadence of about 84 to 88 or 82 to 90. So if you're under 80, especially if you're tall and quite lanky, you probably need to shorten that step. You can do this one or two ways. You can actively try to, over a 20-minute run for 1 minute every 5 minutes, do shorter steps and actively try and do it. Or if you've got a smartphone, you can get a metronome app, which gives you a metronome. So set that for 82 or 84 within a minute, put it on the treadmill in front of you, and then just try and hit those beats as you run. And after a while, you get used to it. You then may find that you're mid-foot striking instead of heel striking, and running downhill, we heel strike because it's our natural break. So if you're doing a long stride and heel striking, you're probably losing momentum as you run. Switch to a mid-foot strike by speeding up your cadence and taking more steps in a minute. You may find that actually there's far more momentum moving you forward, and you can do that mile and a half in 10 minutes. So, to get good at running on a treadmill, run on a treadmill. If you're struggling, try running shorter distances faster with a bit of intervals. If you're still struggling, then try and improve your cadence by running quicker, taking more steps in a minute, and you'll probably find you'll stop losing your momentum.